Welcome back. In this video, I'll show the method I use to make pour-over coffee. If you didn't see my last video, I made a walnut box to hold my coffee filters. You'll get to see that in this video, and if you want to see how I made it, there's a link to the video on screen right now and at the end of this video. Until recently, I wasn't really into coffee because I didn't like the taste without adding a bunch of sugar or cream. But about a year ago, I started researching how to make a good cup of black coffee, and I decided I would pursue manual brewing methods like pour-over coffee. The coffee equipment that I ended up getting was the Kalita stainless steel 1 liter water kettle. I used the Presse manual Burr grinder to grind my coffee, and I use a basic water thermometer to measure the temperature of the water. I use the Kalita ceramic coffee dripper that uses No. 2 filters, and I have a basic kitchen scale. I also did some research into the brewing method to use with my Kalita Wave coffee dripper, and I found this recipe by George Howell. I've been using it for over the past year and it's had pretty good results for me. I'll put a link to this and all the other equipment that I'm using in the description so you can check it out if you want. I found that I usually prefer South American coffee, so I'm going to use this sample that Abby got me that was grown in Colombia. The first step I usually do whenever I'm making coffee is I get the water heating up while I grind the beans. I found that there's a noticeable difference in taste between using regular water and filtered water, so I always filter my water with this water pitcher. I'm actually going to heat up more water than I need for this brewing method. I'm going to do 600 milliliters instead of the 390 that I need for the actual method, because I want to make sure that when I get near the end of the pour that there's still plenty of water to keep up a good steady flow out of the kettle. I've got the burner set on medium-high, and whenever the water gets close to boiling, I'll use the thermometer to make sure it's between 195 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. From the George Howell coffee recipe, it says to measure out 25 to 28 grams of coffee beans. I usually go with 25 to be on the lower side of the ratio of coffee beans to water, but I typically grind this while the water's heating up. I finished grinding the coffee beans. It typically takes me 8 to 10 minutes to grind it using this manual method. Something I forgot to mention was that I use about 15 to 17 clicks with this Presse to determine the coarseness of my beans. That's probably equivalent to like a medium grind, and that's just going to depend on what kind of grinder you have in order to get the right settings for that. So I've got my setup here. I normally use my phone stopwatch whenever I'm making coffee, but since I'm recording with my phone, I'm just using my watch here for that. So you put the Kalita Wave on top. This is the box that I made in the last video to hold my coffee filters. These are No. 2 basic coffee filters, and I think I do it that way normally, and then put the filter in like that. And once the water is ready, I first rinse the filter out with hot water to get the paper taste out, and then I'll dump that water out, and then I'll put the coffee beans in up here and start the pour. Alright, I've got the water heated up to about the temperature that it needs to be. My goal is to get it between about 195 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's just based off of some research that I did. And it looks like it's right about where it needs to be, about 195 right now. So I rinse off the filter with the hot water. This helps to make the coffee taste better. Okay, and get that kind of straightened out a little bit. And I'll dump this water out. And now I put in the coffee grounds. that all out. And you want to make sure that the coffee grounds are pretty level, so I give it a shake there. Try to get that as straightened out as I can. And I'm going to wait for the second hand to get to the beginning of the minute, and that's when I'll start my pour. So for the first 15 seconds, I'll pour to 65 grams of water, starting right about now. And I try to pour as consistently as I can, but that's kind of hard to do sometimes. And I go in a clockwise circle. It's been almost 15 seconds now. I need to get to 65 grams. All right. So now I'll wait until it gets to 30 seconds, and then for the next 15 seconds, I'll pour until I get to 130 grams of water. And I just like to change up the direction that I pour the water in. I don't think it really makes a difference, but maybe I'm a little superstitious there. So now I'm pouring to 130. It's almost been 15 seconds, so that's close enough. Now I'll wait another 15 seconds, and then whenever I get back to the minute mark, I'll pour to 195 for the next 15 seconds. Okay, that's close enough. And when I get to minute 30, then I'm going to pour up to 260 grams of water. And I'll reverse directions just because I like to. Okay, that's close enough. And whenever I get to the 2-minute mark, I'm going to pour to 325 grams. I was a little bit off there on the number of grams, but that's okay. And then for the last pour, once I get to the 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm going to pour up to 390. We'll do another, there we go. Alright, so now I wait until I get to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so that's about 35 seconds from now. And then I'll go take the Kalita Wave off the cup and stop letting it drip in, and I'll throw away the coffee grounds. That's pretty good. I'm supposed to be able to taste chocolate hazelnut, sweet plums, roasted nuts, and a bourbon finish, but my palate is not quite that refined. I'm only picking up like chocolatiness and nuttiness. This is the pour over coffee method I've been using for over the past year. I've enjoyed the coffee I've been making with it, but in the future I'd like to try out some new brewing methods as well. In my next video, I'm going to be backpacking with my brother on the Current River section of the Ozark Trail. Thanks for watching this video. Please leave a like and let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe to my channel.